How much pain can one man take? If you knew you'd fail before even trying, would you go through with it for the sake of the experience you would gain? Or would you save yourself the trouble? Close your eyes and envision the worst pain you could ever put yourself through. Now open your eyes. What you envisioned is what you're about to watch. Here is the story of how I attempted to collect every single raid exotic in only one stream. Now you may be saying in your head, that's impossible, and you may be right, but what if we could? How many tries would each exotic take, and how long would the entire challenge be? That's the question we were gonna set out to solve. In the normal limitations of Destiny, I would agree, this is impossible, but our challenges aren't Destiny challenges, they're Pokemon challenges. It doesn't matter if you need Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire, and Pokemon Emerald. All that matters is completing your Pokedex, and that's how this challenge is gonna work. We'll be using multiple Destiny 2 accounts in order to make this possible. Also, if you do enjoy this video and my suffering, make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new, go ahead and subscribe, as we'd love to have you. And if this video hits 5,000 likes, we'll attempt this challenge again when the final shape raid comes out. Now, it's important to note, we'll only be going after raid exotics that actually still have their raids in the game, so this will be excluding kiosk exotics like Legend of Acreus or Tarbo. This means that there are going to be 8 exotics that we're going after. Keep in mind, it can take some people months or even years to get even one raid exotic, so the ultimate feeling would be seeing each one of these rare gems drop in one sitting. My goal was to hopefully complete this within 24 hours, 48 at the max, but I had no idea what was in store for me. If you're still missing any raid exotics, comment below which ones you're missing. With that being said, let's go over some rules. 1. Every Destiny 2 account I use has to be a fresh account. 2. I can only farm checkpoints of a raid after doing a full run of that raid. And 3. No cheating, but that's a given. With all that out of the way, let's get into the story of how 8 yellow squares brought a grown man to tears. I hope you enjoy. I start off this challenge just like all of our other challenges for those who've watched our older challenges. I start with, no, please don't say it, don't say it. New Light! This is how Bungie teaches a new player about the world of Destiny and how the game operates. This is also where my empty soul resides. One thing about New Light is that it eats a ton of time in challenges like these. To get an account ready to raid where all 3 characters can fly across the solar system, it usually takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. I also pre-made the accounts at the beginning and purchased the DLC so that I could eliminate the need to actually create the accounts and make purchases on stream. Maeve's Key is one of the few good things that can come out of New Light during this challenge. This allows me to pick up the tractor cannon, which will be huge in the raids to buff my team's weapons while I'm still a low light and have pretty bad weapons. Even though my poor soul has done New Light over 1,000 times, it feels like at this point, I'm still learning new things to this day.
Whoa! Whoa! I clipped in! Wait! Why is this closed?
After this discovery, I power through the rest of the mission and I make it to the tower where it's now time to take my tower tour. Only it's not. Amanda Holliday came from the grave to stop me in my tracks. But was she coming from beyond the grave to haunt me? Or maybe since my fate was already sealed, I had already crossed over to the other side.
Let's start by registering your jump ship. There.
Oh no, not this again. Please don't be weird. Oh my gosh, I'm soft locked. There's just no way.
After this bit of spookiness, it was time I completed the Navoda Strike and then got to Guardian Rank 2 to be able to finish New Light. Then all that would be left was making my Hunter and Warlock and getting them ready by completing the first mission of New Light for both of them. Now that this was done, it was finally time to raid. Only it's not. It's time to talk about the time frame that we're attempting this challenge. We started this challenge 16 hours before the weekly reset. Why, you might ask? Well, I wanted to take advantage of 2 different farmable raids during the duration of the challenge. The first of the 2 being the most important, Root of Nightmares. Since this is a paid raid and also requires a hefty amount of power grinding, this challenge almost requires taking advantage of the raid being the featured raid. Due to how many raids are in the rotation as well as the timing of the new season dropping, Root of Nightmares won't even be farmable again until January. This meant that I had to do this challenge now or risk having to wait again until next year. You may still be wondering though, why 16 hours? Well, Root of Nightmares is from the most current DLC, Lightfall. This means that the power level goes all the way up to 1800. You start this game at 1600. This means that I wasn't going to be diving into the raid anytime soon. The next chapter of this story was called the Heroic Campaign. without the heroic and without the cam. I decided that the heroic campaign would be the best way to get my Titan strong enough to hold his own in Root of Nightmares. Finishing it means you automatically make it to the soft cap of 1750. Unfortunately, this meant that I was likely going to have to dedicate at a minimum 3 hours to this campaign, if not longer. Now's also a good time to talk about Guardian ranks, another reason our challenges are very brutal. Off first glance, Guardian ranks might seem to be irrelevant to a challenge like this, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You want to use resilience mods to not get destroyed in the heroic campaign? That sounds logical. Well, you can't use armor or weapon mods until Guardian rank 5. You want to purchase upgrade materials to upgrade your gear from Raoul like golf balls? That sounds handy. Well, you can't until Guardian rank 6. And one of the newest things that I didn't even know up until this point, I learned when I was trying to upgrade my subclass. Guardian ranks, while designed to guide the player, actually does more restricting than anything else. It'll also slow down one other thing, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Before we go any further, these challenges require me to sit in this seat that you see here for potentially up to 24 hours, sweating my butt off trying to get all of these exotics before the clock strikes 0. Because of this, I want to make sure my hygiene is taken care of. This is why we're partnering with Geology, and they made this exotic challenge possible. Some of you may be familiar with Geology already from when they brought us Raid Zone back with the Crota Zen Raid. Well, together we're back again to make sure that we have all of your hygiene needs covered. The two biggest stereotypes for us Destiny players is 1, we don't touch any grass, and 2, we don't shower. Well, I got good news for you. We're here to change that. Geology is a 25-time award-winning personalized skincare company that creates simple and effective skincare and hair care routines customized just for you. How can they do that? Well, you take a 30-second quiz and they do the rest. Geology is people-proven and turns skeptics into happy believers with 7,000 plus 5-star reviews. You'll be shocked at how much better your skin is gonna be. Geology makes commitment easy, no more complicated routines. So stop wasting your time sifting through endless products and start using the best skin and hair care products in the game. And there's never been a better time to try out Geology than right now. For a very limited time, you can use my link and get 100% off your personalized set. Yes, I said 100% off, and you can get a free trial of their 27-time award-winning skincare. All you have to do is pay the $4.95 shipping cost. Thank you again to Geology for partnering with me, and now let's get back into the video. We press through the legendary campaign as fast as we can, which proves to be quite difficult starting at 1600 with no good weapons or mods. All I want to do is press through the heroic campaign in order to get on with the challenge. Unfortunately, Nimbus had other plans every time I went into my menus.
Alright. There's no way I just got... did I just... Wait. I'm actually soft-locked again. How many times can I get soft-locked?
We get to the point where it's time to do the Hypernet Current Strike and we knock it out as fast as we can. At this point, we only have 2 missions, but they're really long, so I decided that being 1730 was going to have to be as good as it gets. About 40 levels under the recommended going in, which meant that this was going to be a contest mode, modless raid run. Now, it was finally time to raid. Just kidding, because now is the time where we get to talk about more Guardian ranks like I told you earlier. This time I want to talk about triumphs. For whatever reason, triumphs are locked behind Guardian rank 3. You may be wondering, why is that an issue for us? Well, it means that we can't do RNG boosting triumphs and raids to improve our chances if we don't take the time to improve our Guardian ranks. Luckily, since I did the Neomuna campaign, we had a third of the requirements done already, and all that was left to do was some chores on the EDZ and Nessus, including meeting Devrim and Failsafe. Also, more and more signs are leaning to me already being a spirit in the afterlife.
It's an oof. Or actually, am I tripping? Is he a ghost? Okay.
After finishing this, it was time to go back to the tower to upgrade my Guardian ranks to give me access to triumphs. It's finally time to raid, and we're already 4 hours into this challenge before we've even stepped foot in the raid. The early game for these challenges is brutal. Funny enough, I'm not going to take any time to do the triumphs for Root of Nightmares since it's the farmable raid. I figured that since my main account conditional finality dropped in 4 runs, and well, during the all exotic challenge video, this happened on my first try. I figured that there was no way that this exotic would take more than a few tries. I made a bold call. Here's what I said that I would soon regret dearly.
We have it before 7 hours. I'm a call.
We press on, beating the opening part of the raid, moving on to the Scission encounter, which is painful with no mods, but we get past it no problem. Next, I get reminded how much I love the lifts in this raid.
Bro, but I'm dead now because I can't do a lift.
Next, the explicator goes down, and now all that's left between me and conditional finality is my good old friend Nessie. By the time we get to him and save the checkpoint, we're now officially past the 5-hour mark of the challenge. No matter, we have 2 hours to make do on my promise. Surely this won't take that long. It's funny to note that everyone else on the team during this 20+ attempt period got the weapon multiple times. Not only did we not get the weapon by the 7-hour mark like I promised, but we also didn't have it by the 8-hour mark either. The name of this raid I was finally starting to understand. The root of nightmares. The root of my nightmares. And of all my suffering. Finally, on our 26th attempt, after all the pain and all the suffering, here's what happened.
Taking his time getting there. Alright, come on, please. Finally! Oh my.
Now that we had this weapon, it was time for Val. Keep in mind, even though this took a lot of time, we still had about 8 hours before the weekly reset, meaning if I was fast enough, we could get each of these raids done before the reset and then get an additional 3 tries at each of these raids after the reset without needing a new account. This meant that the name of the game was speed. It wasn't difficult to progress through Val since it was only 1600 power, so not having resilience mods didn't hurt as much as it did during Ron. We knocked out the totems, then we said hi to my good friend Caretaker, before being on to the hectic third encounter of the raid. We completed this as well and we got on to Rolk, who was waiting for me. I hope that after a long painful session with Ron, we were due an easy raid exotic and collective obligation. I couldn't have been more wrong, and Rolk sent us packing quickly with 3 painful fails.
Off the rip. Got a forbearance. Please. 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 No. Just set me free. Fun raid. What a fun raid.
After this, we were pushing the 10-hour mark. Deepstone Crypt was next. This one is pretty easy challenges, so we knocked out the first triumph on the first encounter, followed by killing the servitors at the same time on Atrax, and then having the same Dunker in Tanix Phase 1. We followed this up with slamming the orbs at the same time on Tanix. Since these took little to no effort, this was an easy choice when progressing through this raid. Would Tanix be the one to make this not seem hopeless? Well, on my first run, we failed miserably.
Come on, let all these triumphs be for something. For something. For something. I can feel it, but it's not the exotic I'm feeling.
But on my second run, to my surprise, this was my fate.
We have the triumph boosters. We've taken the time. Please. Wait, it's there! It's there! It's there! Let's go! It's there! It's actually there! Oh.
2 tries and Eyes of Tomorrow was mine. I couldn't believe it. The triumphs had paid off. Our Guardian ranks upgrade had paid off. Nothing could stop me now, or at least that's what I was thinking. Next was Vault of Glass, and by now we were starting to get dangerously close to the reset, so we needed to move quickly. Despite this, we still made sure to collect the triumphs on the way, such as completing the Kill Wyverns with your Super Triumph, or not shooting the same Oracle twice triumph. We also made sure to let the Templar teleport each time, and we made sure to kill the shielded enemy on the Gatekeeper section with only the Relic. To top it off, we did the triumph where we couldn't destroy any supplicants on Atheon. I thought this would guarantee that we would have a similar outcome to Deepstone Crypt. All that was left was Atheon rewarding me with my Vex Mythoclast. Unfortunately, we made 3 valiant attempts and paired those with 3 painful fails. Atheon didn't care about my triumphs or my sanity.
It is not there. Okay. We'll try to explode it on this next one. It's just gotta be. Okay, that's what I figured. I was like, that's gotta be the purest strain, because it sounded like I heard it, and I was about to say. Oh no, it's a legendary.
We had one more raid to squeeze in before reset, so there was no time to feel sorry for myself. It was on the King's Fall to take advantage of being able to try it 3 times before reset. On the way, we claimed the Totem Triumph, followed by the War Priest challenge, making sure we established an order for picking up the buff. Then Golgoroth Triumph was a ton of fun doing the old D1 style, followed by the Flores Lava challenge for Sisters, which admittedly I'd never done before. We then made sure to detonate enough bombs to down Oryx in one go for the Triumph, hoping that this would make the difference. DSC really made me believe that the Triumphs could save this challenge. Would Oryx be the turning point to this challenge? Well, if this was a happy story, the answer to this question would be yes. However, this is not a happy story. This is a story of how one man lost his sanity over yellow squares. Or maybe better said, because of lack of yellow squares.
Even without the buff, why not? That was so rude. Make it up to me. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, why is this game fun?
3 tries, and unfortunately, 3 fails. We were now at the 15-hour mark. It wasn't quite reset, so I couldn't jump back into the raid. What did I do at the downtime? Well, I decided that it was time for even more pain. You may not be following, but I'll fill you in. The next chapter of this video is called Hello Darkness, my old friend, better known as the Shadowkeep campaign. You may be wondering why. Well, Divinity requires the Lectern being unlocked and enough phantasmal fragments to purchase the Divinity quest item required for doing the final puzzles. A little before the 17-hour mark, we unlock access to the Lectern, and here's where we get some good luck. Last time when doing this challenge, I had to grind altars to get the phantasmal fragments because I couldn't afford to buy them. This time, with all the conditional finality farming, I was able to stack up on the legendary shards required to purchase these outright. All that was left was starting the Divinity quest by the Vex portal, following this by heading to Nessus to scan the different nodes in the 3 lost sectors. After this, we killed the Vex that it required and returned to the Lectern to pick up the Divine Fragmentation for phantasmal fragments. Once this was done, all that was left was actually doing the Divinity puzzles in the Garden of Salvation. I decided that we'd return to this later since we had unfinished business. Now that the reset had passed, we could attempt each of the previous raids we failed again 3 more times. The next chapter of this story is called Point and Laugh at Me. We tried Vault of Glass 3 times for Vex Mythoclast with the RNG boosters that we had acquired before the reset. Here's what happened.
Okay. No, not the first. That's okay. What is going on, man? What an incredibly unfair game.
After this letdown, I pray to God that King's Fall will give us better luck. The boosts work for DSC. Surely they would work for one of these raids. Once again, I tried 3 times, and here's what happened.
Fine, man. Please. Do not lie to me. How is there nothing here, man?
After that painful fail, we jumped right into Val. And to my surprise, we got it on our first try.
Oh, man.
Oh, no! No, it didn't! No, it didn't. There's just no way.
Just kidding. That's what happiness looks like. And this is not a story of happiness. We tried 3 times, and I begged Rolk prior to just make an exception. Unfortunately, all Rolk knows how to do is kick and ruin my dreams.
Let me out of this one. Oh, that's so fantastic. Did we hear it that day? Please.
This unfortunately meant that this character was completely tapped out on RNG attempts. Let's do a quick recap. So far, we failed at Vex Mythoclast, Collective Obligation, and Touch of Malice 6 tries each. We got Eyes of Tomorrow in 2 tries. And lastly, we got Conditional Finality in 26 tries. Now you may be wondering, what about 1000 Voices? Well, now that it was the reset, it's the farmable raid. But it wasn't that high on my priority list just yet. Next, it was time to start Crota's End, because I knew that with the luck that we were having, Necrochasm would be serious pain. This is where once again doing the heroic campaign came in handy, where we didn't need to do any power grinding and could jump straight into an 1800 power raid. I hoped against hope that maybe we could hit the jackpot. What's the jackpot, you might ask? Well, if you do a full clear of Crota, each run is a tiny chance of completing not only all of the essence for Necrochasm, but also for the Catalyst as well. 35 essences in 1 run. It looks like this.
I got it. I got it.
It's important to note that by now 21 hours have come and gone in what feels like an eternity, but also in an instant. I pushed through the lamps.
That's what it should do.
I did get an essence though.
Then I make my way to the bridge encounter.
Just remember. Oh, I got another essence. That's 2 in a row.
Then we sent Iryut straight to the Shadow Realm to get to Crota, my good old friend that I just last week spent a full week straight with. The essences so far were actually pretty generous to me.
Like prison, Vero. I've gotten 3 oversouls in a row though.
I down Crota and I'm not given the jackpot, but I am given my guaranteed 2 for a full clear plus my first clear of the week. It wasn't a jackpot, but I got one on every encounter, which is all I could ask for.
Actually, I have 7. Bro, I got 7. I got 7 in a run.
With the 2 added triumphs, I was already at 7 in 1 run. A third of the way there in 1 run was awesome. I should have realized all it did was give me false hope. The second run was also not a jackpot, and I followed up 7 on my first run, with only 2 on my second, bringing me up to 9 in total. Still, to be halfway done in 2 runs wasn't bad.
That's all I got. Jackpot, 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 jackpot. That's not a that's not a jackpot either, man.
Now at the 23-hour mark, I felt like being roughly halfway done on Necrochasm was a good stopping point to transition to an easier raid so I could have a mental break. It was time for Last Wish. I head over to the wish wall to grant myself an extra key for my first try.
And then for facing birds is good.
Keep in mind, Last Wish, now that the reset it passed, is the farmable raid, so I can do this as many runs as it takes to get it. In an ideal world, we want it to take a long time to get farmable raid exotics and a short time to get non-farmable raid exotics, but it rarely works out like that. We put in the code to get my key, and then we follow it up by putting in the wish to send us straight to Riven. Riven gets obliterated as she always does, and before I know it, we're off to Queen's Walk. We progress past Queen's Walk, and now it's time for the moment of truth. Like I said, this is the only raid that I don't mind it taking a long time due to being able to farm it. However, regardless of that, I want to get it out the way as fast as I can so I can get back to the other raids. I open up my first key, and this happens.
I'm literally due. Wish no more.
Still having my second key from the wish wall, I quickly go on and choose a second chest. And since this is a raid I have infinite attempts on only the second attempt, this was the outcome.
2.
Three raid exotics off the list, at just about the 24-hour mark. All things considered, with raid exotics sometimes taking months or even longer for some, having 3 RNG raid exotics on one account in 1 day was still a pretty cool accomplishment. Next, after crossing the 1 day mark straight, I decided to go ahead and knock out my 100 hive kills with the Gray Husk of the Pit in order to get the Necrochasm once I had the essence required.
Only from raids. I know it's technically from a raid, but I mean like...
After we get the kills, we're faced with a long and painful next Crota full clear, and we're only given another 2 essence for our efforts, bringing us up to 11 essence towards the Necrochasm. Once this is over, I decide to shift gears back over to New Light to get my next account started for more attempts. I figured if I could just get the ball rolling on the next account, it would save me some time from having to go back and do it later. Now that the account was created, I decided I would finish New Light on it after doing something else very important. At 28 hours in, it was time for everyone's favorite quest, the Divinity. Some might say I'm crazy for taking this on after 28 hours straight of playing the game. Maybe I am just crazy. No matter the reason, we jump right in and we knock out each puzzle as we go. Honestly, the toughest part of this quest is just making sure I don't die here.
No, 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 no.
We progress onwards, completing each puzzle on the way, and we finally make it to the final puzzle.
I didn't even have to move. That was legendary. It was actually legendary. I just booped into everybody.
The Mario Party minigame, I like to call it. All jokes aside, I'll always really love this puzzle. After this, all that was left was defeating the Sanctified Mind and claiming my prize, the Divinity.
I know. Oh, finally.
4 exotics off the list on one account in just shy of 30 hours. Even after 30 hours straight of grinding, I knew there was one more exotic that was for the taking that I had to keep my foot on the gas for. The Necrochasm. We were already halfway done with the essence, so we had to keep going. We start another full clear and stop at the bridge to do the shoot the sword bearers from across the bridge challenge, which honestly was pretty interesting to say the least.
Nice, a challenge.
After this, we pressed forward, and before we knew it, we were back at Crota. We down him, and unfortunately, once again, we don't hit the jackpot, but we did get an extra essence for doing an all-Titan run.
Because I should, in theory, we should be, cooking here.
After this, we do another full Crota. And then we do another full Crota. And then we do another full Crota. Until we received our final essence, which cost me my sanity.
Was he dead? Nice. Nice.
All that was left between my Necrochasm was one more Crota kill. I load back into the raid and I stare Crota right in the eyes and I tell him he is something that belongs to me. We take him down, and after 7 Crota kills in almost 34 hours straight of gaming, I get the Necrochasm, and I'm now up to 5 raid exotics on just one account.
So, it's done. Oh.
Even though I'm still feeling defeated over the other RNG exotics, this was definitely a small light in a room filled with darkness. I head back into New Light to get my second account ready to take on the 3 final raids I had left to defeat. Once this was completed, I decided that Atheon would be the first boss we would go visit again to hopefully secure our fabled Vex Mythoclast. Unfortunately, once again, 3 tries and 3 fails.
Not the first. Not the first. That was a long journey for a helmet.
We were now over the 1 day and a half mark, which meant over 36 hours of non-stop gaming. It was now time to take on Oryx to see if Touch of Malice would drop for us. Here's how the run went. Really? Could this get any worse? Not only did my stream die, my PC completely blue screened, and I had to unplug it to get it back on. It took about an hour to get things back going.
I don't fully understand, guys. And that I don't like. I don't like when I don't understand something. Because the problem when you don't understand something is you can't prevent it from happening again.
After getting things back on track, I was hoping to the RNG gods that this PC crash was to test my patience right before getting a huge drop with Touch of Malice. We had 3 attempts to make this happen. Here's how the 3 attempts went.
I got 1,000 Glimmer, I can tell you at least that much. On top, I got a hand cannon, man. Yeah, Midas Reckoning. For probably like a helmet or something. Something lame.
Next it was on to Rolk, and I gotta be real, my morale was at an all-time low. I was really sad about my PC blue screening, and it still wasn't really acting fully right, and my RNG was being brutal. I said a quick prayer and we got into it. Here's how the runs went.
Did you really? Wait, double drop? Just please. Just please. It knows better. It knows.
Three raids, 9 fails, 0 exotics, 1 PC blue screen, and infinite pain. What a sequence this was. All I could do was smile through the pain. After this, we were approaching the 40-hour mark of non-stop gaming, so I decided to stretch my legs for a couple hours. After this, it was time to go back to my favorite activity. Do I have to say it? New light! After taking the time to get this account ready to raid on all 3 characters, we dove right back into the action. We started things off with Vault of Glass. We followed that up with King's Fall, and then we finished things off with Valve the Disciple. Would this finally be my moment to shine? Let's take a look at the runs.
A helmet again, man. Thousand Glimmer. I didn't think I heard it.
We had just passed the 48-hour mark. 2 days straight of gaming, and we were still being punished. Let's recap since we had hit the 2-day mark. At this point, 1K Voices took 2 keys on our first attempt. Divinity took 1 try because it's a quest. Eyes of Tomorrow took 2 tries. Conditional Finality took 26 tries. Necrochasm took 6 full runs to get the essence that I needed. And Vex Mythoclast, Touch of Malice, and Collective Obligation I failed at 12 times each. Well, once again it was time to go back to my prison. New light. But it might as well have been called No Light at the End of the Tunnel, because that's how hopeless this was feeling. I decided that on this next attempt, now that we were approaching 50 hours straight of gaming, that if this New Light account didn't get an exotic, then the challenge would be over. After getting the account ready, I made a quick pit stop to do a Vex incursion that got me Crest of Alpalupi. Not bad considering how terrible my armor was.
It was a chest piece, but not the one I needed, no.
After this, I dove into Vault of Glass to see if this challenge would continue or end in defeat. I hoped that this time it would be different, but unfortunately, all 3 Atheon attempts were complete and utter failures.
Why not? Or why, I guess.
Next was King's Fall. I gotta be honest, at this point I had pretty much given up hope on this challenge. It had just brutally beaten me. Not only was I broken, my RNG was broken, my PC was basically broken, and so was my spirit. Here's how the first attempt went. Yup, somehow when there was no hope left, Touch of Malice came from the shadows and brought us up to 6 out of 8 of the exotics we needed. This was unreal. Right when I had completely lost hope, I wondered if we could carry over this strike of good luck into Val. I loaded right in, and here's what happened on our 3 attempts.
Not on number 1, but that's okay, because we got 2 more. Not on the good old Warlock. Oh, 1 out of 3. Honestly, not the worst.
Yeah, unfortunately, for every bit of good luck means a ridiculous amount of bad luck. I decided that I would raise the stakes and do what I did last time, as we were now past the 52-hour mark straight of gaming. I decided that we would create 3 New Light accounts, and if we didn't get both exotics, it would end our suffering. This meant we'd have 9 attempts at each exotic, or so I thought, but we'll get to that in a moment. We did have a small hint of good luck that happened while we were doing the grind, and that was that all of the older DLCs went on sale, so luckily Witch Queen was a lot cheaper than it normally was when farming this. With that out of the way, it was time to do New Light 3 final times to rid me of any of my sanity that I may have still had left. This took absolutely forever, and by the time I had 3 characters ready to raid, we were over the 56-hour mark. Almost 60 hours straight of no sleep, just raiding. It was time to load into Vault of Glass to see if the challenge would continue. We start the encounter, only wait. We didn't start the encounter because I can't get into the raid. Why, you might ask? The SMS verification. Normally this would be fine. We've ran into this before. However, we weren't prepared for what I ran into next. I maxed out on how many times my phone number could be used, and it locked me out of verifying any other number on this account. This meant that at least for now, this account was completely locked out from doing Vault of Glass despite it being a paid account that I bought Witch Queen on. This meant that instead of 9 times, I had at most 6 times to try Vault of Glass on these other 2 accounts if I verified them in some other way. I decided to worry about that after trying 9 vows, as it wouldn't matter if we didn't get collective obligation. We dive into Rolk to try my first 3 attempts. Here's how they went.
On the first, it's okay. Oh.
Our first account didn't go our way. No matter. Surely on our second account, this will be the turning point.
No. Right to the next.
You gotta witness the traditional look.
Unfortunately, once again, no luck. We were now almost at the 59-hour mark. Until you do 60 hours straight of raiding yourself, it's really hard to convey just how brutal this is. With only one final account, all that was left was seeing how this story ends.
Goodbye.
Come on, kid. Oh, wait. 2 more.
Oh. I've gotten that glaive like 10 times. Well, guys, in
I feel so bad for having lost from this guy. You know what I mean?
More despair. Nothing but despair. For a final tally, we got 1K voices and 2 keys are on our first attempt, Divinity in 1 attempt since it was a quest, Eyes of Tomorrow in 2 attempts, Touch of Malice in 13 attempts, Conditional Finality in 26 attempts, Necrochasm in 6 full runs to get the essences we needed, and we failed at getting Collective Obligation 24 times, and Vex Mythoclast we failed at getting 15 times. This unfortunately marked the end of the challenge, but we did learn a lot. 1, doing this between 2 resets was definitely better as it gave us 2 guaranteed RNG exotics. 2, SMS verifications have a limit, so I need to figure out a solution to that. 3, triumphs may still be a waste of time, I'm just not sold on them. And 4, 60 hours of raiding straight is enough to break any man. If you want to see this attempted again, make sure to like this video and follow me at twitch.tv/cbgray to see our next challenge live. And just like that, this is the story of how I chased 8 yellow squares for 60 hours straight until I was driven mad. Thanks for watching.